Okay, guys, so I wanted to talk to you about scales and why it's good to, in my opinion, explore different scales in music because it can really take you places that maybe you wouldn't normally go. So it's not that I didn't know of other scales before messing around with film and trying to do like cinematic and ambient stuff. But as I explore more in those realms of music, I find that it takes me other places and I'm trying new scales that I've never touched before, that I would have never messed with. And this one is a interesting one, and I'm going to do my best to pronounce it, but it's pronounced Byra. Byra. Okay? This is what it looks like if you can see up here. And Byra is the let me give you like a little short background on it. It is a classical Indian raga known for its dark, sacred, mysterious, and ancient sound. And that is true. It does sound very mysterious, very dark, very ancient. Um, and I'm not going to break down everything about it. If you really want to know more, you should look it up. But the vibe is pretty interesting and definitely can take you on some cosmic, like totally different areas that maybe you wouldn't try normally. So let me show you what I'm doing here with this track. So this is the Omnisphere. I'm getting really into and loving the Sound Toys effects rack, where you can buy some different presets if you want, or use the ones they give. They give a ton of them. And then I bought, of course, the Tom Wolf stuff and uh, the Manta Foundry presets, which his stuff is really good, by the way. I did a video on it, so you guys can check that out. So I'm messing around. I find this analog machines one that Tom Wolf did, and it just sounds really good. It's subtle in some ways, like I can barely notice it. But let me just play this portion for you. So this is a preset on one of his packs called Sleep, and I cut the filter down on it a little bit. It's the perfect pack to kind of set the more sleepy, moody, darker, cosmic kind of vibe. And so I played this 16 bars in this scale, and I always do my this type of stuff first to see where it's gonna take me because it doesn't matter if I put a whole bunch of drums together. If it doesn't sound the way I want it, I won't do anything with it. Okay, enough of that. So then I went into my addictive drums and I found some jazz drums that I like, but I'm actually not using a jazz kit. I'm using the jazz like MIDI to help me with the drums. But then I'm using like a percussion kit called Cozy Room. And this is obviously using percussion, which you can see right here. But the trick to what I'm going to show you is I also used Tom Wolf's, he has a section in here. You go down to the user for imperfect delays. Now, I would have went towards the cinematic drums, but I'm not really just trying to make cinematic drums. I'm just trying to let the drums have something different to them. And this delay that he used, the Echo Boy. First of all, the Echo Boy is dope. If you haven't tried it, it's a really good um, plug-in pedal to have. So I'm using that and full mix because this is the preset, full mix. And this is what that sounds like. I'm going to solo it by itself. Just a real simple. And Hear the echo still going. It's such a strong, powerful whatever is going on in it. So anyway, that's going on. So then I played a simple 8 bar bass line over the top of that and went an upright bass using Trillion. Now you could take this roar off the distortion, but I kind of like a little bit. And then when I do something that's like 8 bars or only 16 bars, especially if it's going to be somewhat repetitive, perhaps I told you guys this before, I use a little deviation on it. So that way the notes don't always hit at the same velocity all the time. It gives it a little variety and variation. So there's the track. Now I'm going to let you hear it all together because that's where it gets interesting. And then down here I have a Swam uh, the Coltrane preset. Obviously, the expression is where it's at on this, the vibrato and the expression. So I need to be able to play with that. Now I can MIDI map it to a button or to a knob. The only problem I had with it MIDI mapping it was let's go in here. When I'm in scale mode playing, and that's one of the things that sucks about some of these keyboards. I'm not, as long as I'm in scale mode, I can't utilize the knobs. I would have to come out of scale mode, learn the scale. It's not a tough scale to learn. I mean, they're all pretty easy, right? It's going to be basically 7 notes, but it's just I would have to learn it, and it's quicker and obviously to stay in the scale and not have to learn it. But that said, um, let me just let you hear the track first, since I said I was going to do that, and then just let you see where it's at. I was going to try guitar, but I couldn't find anything with the guitar that just fit, so that's why I ended up looking at this horn, just because I knew that I could do some little runs or some whatevers to make it work. But anyway, here's the song. All right, cool. Those effects be holding and lingering. See that? So when you do this type of music too, make sure you give yourself space for those type of effects to kind of fade out if you're gonna do this. So don't stress yourself about staying within a time frame here. Allow yourself a little more freedom. I'm only showing you this in the 16 because that's kind of how I created it initially. So little stuff like that might work better than me trying to play long sustained notes. I do need to use the expression, but the vibrato needs to be there too. I don't care about the pitch bend so much. So I thought about using, you can't, one of the things you can do, I don't think you can remap. Let me see if you can, yeah, see, it's not, it won't let you change the pitch. That's the one thing. The mod wheel can be either the expression or the vibrato, or it can even be both. But the problem when you do it like that is you need that separate control because you may not want vibrato on every note. So that's why you kind of need it. That's the benefit of having a keyboard like the Osmos, where you have pitch bend and all those sound, the vibrato on every note, and you have so many ways to make your sounds more dynamic and expressive. That's what makes the guitar, the bass, the horns of any wind instruments of any sort sound better is when you can get more expressive with it. Because you think about it, they're very expressive instruments. Of course, piano is, but you don't need as much of the other things when you're playing a piano. Now, I wonder too, like if you're using like the Novation, there is a sustain pedal, and I was thinking maybe, just maybe, then using a sustain pedal to do the expression portion or plugging in a volume pedal of some sort. Because I know you can do this with the Osmos, but plugging in something like that on the sustain and using the sustain pedal as the expression pedal. Now that would be the perfect scenario, right? Because you could easily play your melody or your horn line or runs with your right hand. Use your left hand to control the vibrato as I'm doing with the mod wheel, and then your foot would be controlling the expression. The obvious answer is get the little mouth breath piece because it works better, but it's kind of expensive. Okay, so I'm just looking for ways you can get an expression pedal or a either a volume pedal or a what do they call it? Probably the volume pedal would be better, but the sustain pedal to try it. I do have a sustain pedal somewhere. I might plug it in and see if I can get it to work, but it's just a little cheap one. So anyway, that's all I'm here to say is that this is pretty cool. Mess around with different scales if you want to try and experiment with different types of sounds. Um, yeah, it's pretty cool. So that's it. I will see you on the next one.